from the Lord today, and I'm in a new sermon series entitled I Quit. And I was struggling with, there was a sermon that I wanted to develop and pull together, and the Lord led me to 1 Kings 18, and the sermon title is, It's Time to Quit Living a Double Life. It's time to quit living a double life. And it's taken from 1 Kings 18, chapter 18, verses 17 to 24. In fact, the question in the text really indicates how long will we falter between these two opinions? How long will we waver between these two opinions? The question is, how long are we going to keep living this double life? How long can we serve these two masters? And how long can we live in these two worlds? How long can we go back and forth with this foolish living? Well, beloved, these were the words that fell from the lips of the great prophet Elijah. These words are being directed at us today, and the question that I have for you is, how long are you going to keep living this double life? How long are we going to keep living like this? Yes, beloved, we can decide right now, today, 2012, whether we're going to find direction or are we going to stay where we are. We can decide today if we're going to have a breakdown or are we going to trust God to have a breakthrough. We have to decide today, because some of us are faltering between two opinions. Some of us are living in two worlds. I know this is not a popular message. I know this is not a message that's going to get us to running and shouting and all of that. But I hope you got your shout in earlier today, because I know I got mine in. Because I want to know, how long are you going to straddle this fence? How long are you going to live into these two worlds, because it's not working? Wherever you are, you have to make a decision today. In fact, today is decision time. What do you mean when I say today is decision time? Well, you have to decide. Because there's so many decisions that need to be made. There are so many choices that are before us. There's so many things that are pulling at us. There's so many people that's pulling on us. There's so many choices that are laying before us today. And we really want to do the right thing. But how do we make the right choices? How do we make the right decisions, beloved? Because God is always giving us choices. God is a God who always allows us to make decisions. You need to know that we are not mere puppets on a string. You need to know that God does not force us to do His will or His way. You need to know that God is so gracious that He gives us the sacred privilege of choice. He gives us the freedom to choose. He gives us free will. Do you know, Oakdale, that God does not force His will on us? And you need to know that He is God, and He could force His will upon us if He chooses. But God has seen fit to give us, frail creatures of dust, the ability to make choices. Yes, God wakes us up in the morning, and yes, God starts us on our way. But we can decide what we wear. We can decide what we can eat, what we want to eat. And he may know our every move, but he gives us the privilege of free will to make choices. We have free will. It separates us from dogs and cats and other animals. This free will is a gift. It is a blessing. And God expects us to make constructive use of our gift. Oh, I share this important information with you, Odell, because the decisions that we make today will guide us to our destiny, or it will take us away from our destiny. Who we are tomorrow is determined by the choices we make today. I think I just said something in here today. Who we are tomorrow is determined by the choices we make today. And some of us are not mature enough to understand the power and the privilege of free will. Sometimes, because we don't understand it, God has to send people. God has to create situations in our lives to remind us to make the right decision. I ain't gonna get no help in here today. Sometimes God has to create situations to help us make some wise choices. Do you know that you're not here by accident today? God created this moment for you to be here. You are here today to make a choice, to make a decision, and to make a decision about your future, even to make a decision about how you gonna live the rest of 2012. In the words of Elijah, I want to know, how long can you falter between these two opinions? How long are you going to keep living this double life? How long are you going to live in both worlds? How long are you going to go back and forth? How long are you going to keep lying to yourself? How long are you going to go back and forth with your finances? How long are you going to keep filing for bankruptcy? How long are you going to keep stop answering the phone? How long are you going to keep buying what you want and begging for what you need? How long are you going to keep going to the riverboat? How long are you going to keep doing all the stuff that you do? How long are you going to stay married and have a honey on the side? How long are you going to keep doing all that? How long? How long are you going to keep going back and forth with all of this foolishness? How long are you going to keep being difficult, keep having an attitude, keep being stuck up, keep worrying about only yourself? How long are you going to keep doing this? Well, these are the words that fell from the lips of the great prophet Elisha. These words and this question, it speaks with clarity to our desperate situation. Some decisions, beloved, have to be made, and we cannot go on the way we're going. Beloved, you need to know a little bit about the prophet Elisha. Elijah was a leader in Israel, commissioned by God to call the people and the government back to God. Elijah was responsible for keeping God alive among the children of Israel. He was called to remind them of their faith and their legacy, to remind them of the consequences of their choices. Yes, they were God's special people. Yes, they were God's witnesses to the rest of the world about who God is and what God can do. Yes, they had favor in the sight of God. Yes, they had favor. Yes, He chose them, but they had free will to decide if they really wanted to follow God. So during the time of the prophet Elijah, the Bible says when King Ahab, the Israelite king, married Jezebel, the Babylonian, she introduced the children of Israel to a new god, the god of Baal, a Canaanite god which represents strength and fertility. And now I want you to know, when this new God showed up, some chose to follow this new God, and some chose to follow it because it was new. Some chose to follow it because it was different. And many of us look at it like it's strange. There's some kind of new church and new religion that pops up, and all of us want to run over there and be a part of it and don't even know what it is. Some of us don't understand what these things are, and we show up and we standing in lines and throwing money on altars and all of that. Well, just because they have a cross outside does not mean that they're truly people of God. Some chose to follow because it was different. In fact, some followed because it was easy. Following Baal required no commitment, no sacrifice. And then there were others who chose to mix the gods, a little of the true and living God and a little of the God of Baal. Oh, don't look at me like I'm strange. What do you mean? 1 foot in the church and 1 foot out of the church. Yes, they knew God had plans for their lives, but they felt like God was moving too slow. God's plan wasn't fast enough, so they believed that they needed something more. And what do you mean? Well, they went to church on Sunday, but they hung out at the bar Sunday evening. They used the prayer line, but they also used the psychic hotline. They gave their money in church, but they also gave their money to the riverboats and the Mega Millions and the Lotto line. I ain't gonna get no help in here. God wasn't going fast enough for them, so they needed something to speed God up and to help him. And so they found comfort in the new God, and they believed that this new God could speed up their situation. You see, the God that brought them over, the God that took care of them when their money was funny and their change was strange, they believed needed some help. But they didn't realize that their decisions and their free will had some consequences. You better tell somebody your free will has consequences. Ooh, maybe they forgot about Adam and Eve. Maybe they forgot about Jonah. Maybe they forgot about all of those bad choices. But remember, our choices can lead us to our destiny or away from our destiny. Baal was fun to them, but let's not be so hard on the children of Israel. Let's not be so hard on them, because quiet as it's kept, you act like you haven't made some bad decisions. Oh, don't look at me like I'm crazy. Somebody in here know what I'm talking about. You've made some bad decisions. You tried to help God out and found yourself in the wrong place with the wrong people doing the wrong thing. It took you 2 minutes to make the decision to do it, and it's taken you a lifetime to get out of it. Oh, I ain't gonna get no help in here. You didn't know how to deal with your free will. And then, like the children of Israel, you found your life in a drought. You couldn't understand how you got in the place that you're in. You found yourself in exile, and you couldn't figure out how you got there. But you didn't realize that decisions without God lead to storms. Don't you believe? If you don't believe me, ask Jonah, because when Jonah made a decision without God, it led to storms. In fact, so many of us are in here blaming everybody for the mess that we got ourselves in. We sit and I hear them all the time in my counseling session. Mama was too strict, Pastor. Daddy wasn't there. Maybe if my family wasn't as dysfunctional as they are, things would be a little easier. I wouldn't be in the condition that I'm in. Well, the bottom line is you made choices. And we have to take responsibility for the choices that we make. You chose to accept it. You can choose to accept it or you can do something about it. Well, what's so funny about it is that we get mad when other people in our family who were raised in the same crazy household and they make right choices and right decisions. Well, here's the thing. Mama was hard on sister and brother too, but they made choices that led to a better destiny. You made choices, and the sad part about it is that you knew better when you made those choices. You knew you weren't raised like that. You knew you weren't raised to do the things you were doing. You knew you weren't supposed to be hanging out with people like that and doing funny things with checks like that and doing stuff with money. You knew all about that. You knew better than to put all your name, telephone in your children's name and grandkids' names and all that. You knew better than to take out credit in other people's names and all that. You knew better than that. God has been too good to you. You knew all about the power of prayer, but you only used it for emergencies. You're the one that decided that tithing was costing you too much money, that God wasn't blessing fast enough. You made those financial decisions. You're the one that decided that Sunday school was for children. You decided that since you couldn't be a star in the choir, that you weren't going to sing anymore, and you picked up your marbles and your gifts and went somewhere else. You decided that since you couldn't be the teacher and take over the class, that you no longer was going to come. You decided all of that. You decided not to take advantage of it. You decided to use the bulletin for a fan instead of reading about all the information that's in there. You decided. God didn't tell you to do that, and many of us are doing things that we want to do, and we get upset because God won't bless it. Well, let me tell you this about my God. My God is like when you go to a restaurant. When you go to a restaurant, if you give God what he orders, not only will he pay for it, but he'll have the nerve to leave a tip. And so you want to know why God's not paying for some of the stuff. It's because you're not giving what he asked for. I ain't going to get no help in here. We blame everybody else. Yes, we blame everybody else and we mad because other people are walking in their destiny. We hating on them because they went to school and actually studied, and you went down there and partied and they graduated, and you mad at them, rolling your teeth, saying they think they better than that. Well, they are better than you because your behind didn't stay in school and do what was supposed to be done. So stop drinking haterade, living in hater estates, and being mad at everybody because of decisions that you made. Nobody told you to lay down with that clown and have no baby. You should have closed your legs and went on home. You mad at everybody else because you got 5 kids from different daddies, and you want all of us to stop what we doing and take care of your babies. Hell to the no, we ain't doing that. Don't blame God. You're the one that cut God off. God hasn't left you out in no desert. God hasn't put you in the midst of a drought. You decided to walk out on God. You decided that praying for guidance wasn't necessary. You decided that you didn't need to talk to God about your every move. Now you in the trouble, and now you in a drought, and now you in a mess, and then you want to know why you in this situation. Stop messing with Jezebel's God. Leave her God alone. Don't you see the signs that say that thing ain't working? Don't you see the the devil is trying to set you up for failure. He knows that you have free will and you can make choices, and he wants you to make the wrong choices. Don't let people take away your freedom. Don't let people take away your purpose and your anointing. Stand fast in the liberty wherewith Christ has set you free. Don't let nobody mistreat you like that, mishandle you like that. Don't let nobody discount you like that. Tell them this ain't Walmart. This ain't no blue light special. No, no, no. Don't you see the warning signs? Didn't your mama tell you that everything that glitter ain't gold? Didn't your mama tell you that? My God, can anybody just sweet talk you into doing stuff? Don't you know that? Can't you see it? My goodness gracious, they walking up to you like that. They can't even speak. They sitting down there. They not even a whole thing. They are zero. And you sitting there saying, why? What, you want to know why you don't get anything? Because you keep hanging out with zeros. And Pastor Jemison said, if you got 1,000 zeros, you still got zero. And so you're hanging out with all these zeros, and then you wonder why you can't add up to nothing, because you got zeros. Read the doggone signs. You see it's crazy. You see, just because they got matching socks don't mean they'll make a good husband. And brothers, you better be careful. Just because she go to church and shout on Sunday don't mean she ain't crazy. Every good paying job ain't always the best job. Don't you see the signs? Everybody telling you danger, danger, Will Rogers. See, we ain't trying to take control of your life. We ain't trying to take away your freedom. We ain't trying to dip in your business. We're just trying to tell you, don't you see the sign to say the bridge is out? Don't you see the sign to say demon ahead? Don't you see the sign to say crazy person ahead? Don't you see that? The directions are saying a dead end there. Don't you see it? Look at him. Look at her. And the signs say dead end. The signs looking at them will tell you, you are not going to have a life. You're going to be the one paying the rent. You're going to be the one carrying everything. Why on earth do you want to carry around a zero when you ought to get with somebody that's going to add up to some? Oh, Lord. Do you see what I'm saying? I know that they didn't like Elijah saying that, and many of us don't like me saying it. It ain't fun to hear those kinds of things. It ain't fun to hear it, but we need to hear it. We need to hear it, because understand this. If we do not make the right choices, if we don't quit some of the stuff we're doing, some of the people we hanging out with, we are going to end up at a dead end. Do you know that we have to choose the right God? You see, there is no shortcuts to God. You cannot go around him. You can't go under him. You must come in the door. That's why the Bible says, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct our path. His path may not be the most popular, but it is the most secure. It may require us to go the long way, but we won't get lost. In other words, you just wait on God. You may have to wait until you're 40 or 50 to get married, but I guarantee if you wait on God, you'll stay married. Maybe you gotta wait. We got to wait on that dream house. And when you get it, you won't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Maybe you got to buckle down and make some sacrifices. Yes, you got to give a little and sacrifice now. But what you sow now, you will reap later. If you want to make sure you make the right decisions, you want to be sure that you make the right choices and be in the right place, well, just acknowledge God in everything. Put him first. Don't make any decision until you hear from God. Not from Sally Sue and everybody else. but from the God that is a sure thing. Sometimes you can't go with all this instant and jiffy pop this and microwave that. Sometimes you got to go with some slow brewing stuff. You got to go with some stuff that's got some history and got a track record, something that's got some success. You know, you want to be with a sure thing. You want something that'll stand the test of time. If you want to stick with something, you better stick with the God that brought over some of the saints. You better stick with the God that has brought us thus far, that's keeping us. The God that has kept our grandmothers and grandfathers. The God that never fails. He never walks out on us. This God never leaves us empty-handed, never turns a deaf ear. He's always there, always when we need him. May not come when we want him, but he's always on time. He never changes. He's the same yesterday and today and will be the same tomorrow. Choose you this day whom you will serve. And don't be fooled by what other people say and what other people do. Because the God we serve, he goes to great lengths to try to help us and give us direction. Do you know God is going to great lengths to make our lives easier and simpler? He goes to great lengths to get us out of our situation. He searches for creative ways to save us and reclaim the lost. In fact, God is talking to somebody right now. But see, you won't hush. You're so busy texting and doing this and busy with that and wondering about this that you don't even know that God is calling you out of your situation. God is saying, why are you going back and forth? How long are you going to keep shortchanging yourself? How long are you going to keep allowing yourself to live like this? How long are you going to live in a drought? How long can you live like, well, choose this day. What are you going to do? How long are you going to serve them false gods? How long are you going to worship that job you want? How long are you going to keep scheming? How long are you going to keep hanging out with them knuckleheads? How long? Because you need to make a decision today. I can't make it for you. Your mama can't make it for you. You have to make it for yourself. You've been dealing with these crazy gods for so long, and you know they don't work. But here's the thing. I'm going to tell you like the text says, if these gods that you've been hanging out with, and you keep wanting to run with and text and email and Facebook all the time, you want these gods. Well, I want you to do what Elijah said. Elijah said, put all your gods to the test. He said, put it to the test and see if it works. In fact, he said, I'll allow you to bring 450 of your gods, and I'll just bring one of my gods. He said, I'll bring the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. I'll bring the God of Moses, and I'll bring the God of the children of Israel. You bring your gods, and I'll bring my gods. And the Bible says that a religious showdown happened. A showdown between the prophet Elijah and the Baal prophet of King Ahab. And I want you to know when that rumble took place, I want you to know that God, the God of Elijah sent down fire from heaven and consumed and destroyed the false gods. And the God of Baal was consumed. The God of Baal could not bring rain, could not bring blessings, could not bring deliverance. In fact, it was so bad that Elijah started taunting them. You said your God was all that. You said your God was all that in a bag of chips. You said your God had all this money and all this stuff. You said your God was so fine and so sexy and so this and so that. Well, where is it? Where is your God? Where is your God? He can't do nothing. They needed something that could stand the test of time. And some of us in here, we need to understand, beloved, we need to bring and test our God. You keep talking about all these things that you do and all these gods. Well, I want you to bring your God. I challenge you today. Bring your God today. Go ahead and bring your God right now. I dare you. Go ahead and pull out your good luck charm. I'll allow you to do that. Open your purse up and pull out your lotto ticket. I'll let you bring that. Go ahead and call your horoscope specialist. I'll let you bring that. Bring your numbers man and let him sit next to you. Bring your dream book and all that kind of stuff. You bring all your money and bring your
your bank account, bring all your contacts. And if tithing didn't work for you, bring all your money managers. And if Sunday school and Bible study ain't working for you, bring your 7 steps to a better life. Bring your Oprah's 5 steps and Dr. Phil's 10 steps to great living. And I'll bring the God that has sustained this church for more than 100 years. I'll bring the God of my grandmother. I'll bring the God that has landed many of thousands. I'll bring the God of Mother Ware. I'll bring the God of Pastor Jemison. I'll bring the God of some of those old saints. You go ahead and bring your God, and I'll bring the God that has kept Oakdale for all these years. I'll bring that God. And I'm here to tell you, while you talking to your God, I'll be talking to my God. And while you standing in the lotto line, and while you running from the numbers man, and while you running from doctor to doctor, and while you in and out of relationships, and while you robbing Peter to pay Paul, while you scheming and looking for relief and running from job to job, while you trying to figure out how to deal with your difficult children, the Lord will be turning around and blessing me. The Lord will be delivering me and healing me, because your gods can't hold up to my God. Your gods can't hold up to my God. Your money, your house, your status, your degrees, and all that stuff that you worship won't last. It will not last. It won't give you true happiness. You need something that's eternal. You need something that can hold up. You need something that can give you peace in the midst of the storm. You need something that'll give you a song in your spirit. You need something that'll give joy in your heart. You need a God that'll send rain and send blessings and send opportunity. You need God that'll open doors that nobody can shut. You need a God that can shut doors that nobody can open. You need a God that's a bridge over troubled water. You need a God that's a doctor in the sick room and a lawyer in the courtroom. You need the God of my grandmother and the God of all. I guarantee you, you want all that stuff, it won't hold up. But here's this last point, and I'm going to sit down. Sometimes, when you're trying to make a decision, you need to look at what has happened to other people. Sometimes, the problems of other people can be your greatest blessing. You know, my brother used to say that a whooping didn't last no longer than you got it. Well, I said, that's on you, brother. But when I saw the way my mama was whooping, I said, oh, no, I ain't going that route. I ain't going that route. I became the squealer, whatever you want to call it, the snitch. You can write it on, because I ain't getting no whipping. He broke the lamp. He did it. Yes, I wasn't there. I'm here to tell you. Check out who walked on the shag carpet. My foot size is smaller than his. All that. Oh, yeah, I know how to tell it. I became a CSI quickly. Because I saw what was happening to them, and I didn't want it happening to me. And I remember I told you that story about the fox, the bear, and the wolf that went hunting. Remember I told you that? Remember I told you each of them caught a fish. And the bear was sitting there, and the bear said, well, how should we divide up the spoils? And of course, the wolf said, well, that's simple. We each have caught a fish, so why don't each of us just take one? And at that point, that's when the bear ate the wolf. Then the bear, licking his chops, turned to the fox and said, how do you propose that we divvy up the spoils? And the fox said, well, that's simple. Here, you take my fish, and you also take the wolf's fish. And the bear said, where did you get such wisdom? And the fox said, from the wolf. And so the moral to all that is you've seen a whole lot of people who have been eaten alive. I have seen what drugs will do to people. I have seen what drinking will do to families. I have seen what financial mismanagement will do. And so it causes me to look at and make some better choices than what I've seen. God is calling for you right now. You ain't here by accident. God is saying this is 2012. Make the right decision, because the right decision today is going to determine your destiny tomorrow. If you want a breakthrough, make the right choice today. And that right choice is Jesus Christ. All of those other gods cannot hold up to Jesus Christ. He is the great God. He is the one that absorbs all the other gods, because none of them can hold up to it. And you sitting in a room full of people who have a track record with the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. We got a track record with him. In fact, all I want you to do is think about all the stuff that you've been through. And when you in there, and all those friends that you worship, they were never there when you needed them. When you were down to your last dime, they did not step in to help you do one thing. They were the ones laid with you and you can't even find them. They the ones that had you strung out and now you can't even find them. But I guarantee you make the choice of Jesus today, and I guarantee you he'll change your whole destiny. He will be the God of another chance for you. He'll break that addiction over your life. He'll be a U-turn. Things will turn around when you embrace him as your God. Quit doing some of that stuff you're doing and start living the life with Jesus Christ. Let's give God some praise in this place today.